Okay, so I thought I'd show the team that I ended up going with for round one. So, of course, with some of the team changes and some unexpected players being named or conversely not named, there were quite a few, I guess, tweaks I had to make to my team. And yeah, in the end, a Will Brody sort of move in really had to change me up structurally, which I didn't want to do, but that's the way sometimes it goes. So we've got here, this was my score 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, I guess that's reasonable, I suppose. So inside the top 10,000, you've got the Victoria rank and the Collingwood supporter rank. So, yeah, going into my team. So the one line that really I'm very unimpressed with is my defense. So Crisp, Ridley, Whitfield, awful first round scores. So these guys obviously need to lift. And Crisp and Ridley, look, if I could just imagining if I sort of didn't lose any trades in doing this, but in hindsight, I'd be sort of happier if I had Aaron Hall and Sam Doherty in these spots. So, but of course, that's hindsight. You never know. And look, these guys are the more durable, so maybe it works out better that I do have Crisp and Ridley in there. Short, look, he wasn't even all that impressive, but he scored okay enough in the end. Hewitt, well, that was the one win, so glad at least my mid-price has gone well there. And then you've got Paddy McCartan there, who I really wanted on my bench. I didn't want to have De Koning in my team, but again, as I mentioned, with the Will Brody in sort of later on, well, that's what caused that to happen. So, but yeah, look, the three rookies in defence, I won't ever cry about that. But yeah, basically, I'm not at all happy with my premiums in defence. So if anything sees me get unstuck this year, well, that's probably at least from the basis of my starting team what does. So moving into the mids, McRae, he was my captain going into the weekend. That worked well. I'm not playing with a VC loophole on the advice of Selby. So, of course, Coach Moreira's Magic back-to-back AFL fantasy winner. So, yeah, I've just really got McRae as a perma captain. He's got an easy fixture early on and top scorer. So, hey, why wouldn't I sort of want to stick with that and get those consistent high scores? Lachie Neale, great score. Glad to have him in there. Patrick Cripps, same story. Matt Rowell, phenomenal score. I made a tweet a few weeks back. This was during the Amy, saying that one season, Rowell, he's going to average 20 contested possessions. And of course, he did more than that against West Coast. So, yeah, phenomenal match. And he's going to have a phenomenal season. So, I think quietly that Rowell will be a keeper this year. So, watch out for that. Berry, look, he's the one somewhat disappointing result where first half phenomenal, but yeah, second half obviously he was playing hurt. So fingers crossed for him, he's all right and he can just keep playing and he's not going to be hindered at all. But yeah, if he goes out for the season or something, well then what I would be doing with Berry is I'll be flipping him direct to Braden Preuss. So that'd just be a pretty simple case of Rochelle to midfield, English to forwards, and then just, yeah, bring in Preuss. So I'd be pretty sort of comfortable and happy with that. And yeah, things would work pretty well there, I feel, in that sort of scenario. The rookies that I fielded, Dacos did as expected, Horne-Francis did as expected, Ward scored a lot less than expected. Assuming Ward gets enough CBAs, and I haven't seen the CBA numbers, nor do I actually know where to source the CBA numbers. But if anyone does, please link them in the comment section below. But yeah, look, with Award, I expect he's going to score a lot more than this. During the Amy, of course, with the likes of O'Meara and Mitchell out, well, Ward obviously stepped up and was the top scorer for the Hawks. So this is the low end of his scoring. He's going to average a lot better than this, is my expectation. So I'm very comfortable continuing to field Ward, basically. Stevens on the bench, he was always going to be the first emergency, perfectly fine with how he scored. McDonald, he was always the other midfielder that I was pretty sort of confident and comfortable in. And then, of course, we've got Saligo, who it was sort of, is it he, is it Owens? I wasn't ever sort of convinced in who this other midfielder should be, given there isn't really those other impressive scorers. But yeah, I just went for Saligo in the end, thinking maybe his job security is a bit better, given Adelaide aren't as strong as some other teams might be. So Brady Hoff also considered, but yeah, just don't rate him as a footballer, basically. And if enough players for West Coast return, I think he'd be one of the first to lose his spot. So, but have to see there. Ruck's phenomenal scores there. It's fair to say. So Grundy happy with. English really exceeded expectation, it's fair to say. He outplayed Max Gawn, which I never thought I would ever say. But yeah, very competitive in the ruck, importantly. Won free kicks and around the ground was the better and more valuable player. So yeah, really glad, obviously, I've got English here. And the intention always was to basically eventually move English into my forwards with thinking that he'd be one of the top 6 scoring forwards. So, but who knows, maybe he's going to be a top 2 scoring ruck as well. So have to see there, but I won't get ahead of myself in that respect. But it does solidify my view that he is going to be the number 1 ruck for the Dogs this year, and they don't need Martin, and basically he's someone where he'll be a top 6 scoring forward. So I'm happy there. Jack Hayes, I didn't see this level of scoring coming. I've watched a lot of him in the Sandful and he can have some big scores, but yeah, this was one of the really big ones from him. So obviously fantastic seeing a mature ager step in, picked up in the preseason supplemental period. He was overlooked, obviously, during the national preseason and rookie drafts. So, hey, coming in, being that good, he's going to be a number 2 option up forward and take the pressure off Max King. So that's absolutely terrific for the Saints. And once Paddy Ryder returns, I think that would be more how he plays. But of course, with Ryder out, well, hey, Hayes was perfectly competitive in those few minutes in the ruck and really adjusted very well, particularly in that second half. And of course, won his few free kicks against Grundy in the ruck. So yeah, very impressive, it's fair to say, of Hayes. And then with the forwards, yeah, Dunkley, Heaney, Butters, as expected, really good outcomes. Cornelio, look, I think he can probably average a bit more than that. Will Brodie, what I was impressed with is his scoring despite his low game time. He only played 65% game time. So if he plays, let's say, another 10% game time, well, he could average 90, I think would be pretty realistic. But we'll have to see what happens when Fife comes back. If Brodie loses his spot, well, then I'd just, again, pretty simply, a bit like the Berry scenario, I'd just flip Brodie into Braden Preuss. So that'd be pretty easy. It's just simply Preuss to ruck, English forward. So easy peasy. Tristan Jerry, he was rucking for North Melbourne, so shared minutes with Goldstein, obviously, but yeah, played sort of more ruck minutes overall, it seemed like, to my eye test. So yeah, very happy with how he performed, and obviously he's one to yeah, obviously stick by, and he should really be in your team, it's fair to say. Rochelle and Martin, look, hey, they're not going to do this every week, same story with Hayes, but obviously very welcome scoring. One of those where I'm sort of kicking myself for bringing Brodie in sort of last minute, but yeah, it was just a case of, look, with Brodie lining up as a midfielder being named through the midfield, it's too much of a disadvantage if he pumps out hundreds not to have him. So that was really the logic there, which ruined my structure in defence. I wanted Rochelle sort of here. It would have meant I would have had Durden as well as another rookie forward, but hey, that's how it works out sometimes. So chase the points of someone else, and then yeah, you don't get the ideal rookie structure, which really I feel like I pretty much had, which is a shame for me at least. So but yeah, that's how my team's looking. Am I going to make any changes this round? I guess it depends on, is Berry going to be out for the season? Is he out for a few months? Or Brodie, is he going to just suddenly get dropped? If that happens, Preuss is in. Otherwise, look, I could toy with Crisp and Ridley to Hall and Doherty, but yeah, look, given these guys are the more durable, given it sort of wastes trades, yeah, look, I'll probably just sort of stick by them and see what happens for another week, and fingers crossed they can, yeah, boost their scoring output basically to a more reasonable level. But yeah, if you've got any tips for my team, let me know in the comments section below. In terms of the actual trading components to Supercoach, I am absolutely horrible, and I'm someone where basically I don't even check the team sheets to see who's playing from week to week, let alone sort of what's happening with anything there. So my starting teams are basically always pretty strong, and my rookie selections are always pretty well bang on, but yeah, but of course I let myself down with the trading and just not sort of paying enough attention to my teams during the year, with of course my focus being, for the most part at least, on the junior state leaguers. And look, I do watch a heap of what's happening at AFL level, but it might not always be the right teams. So, or I might not necessarily be aware of who's hurt, someone could be out for a month, I wouldn't be aware. So yeah, they're obviously the problems for me in Supercoach and why I'll never be a top sort of probably 100 performer, even though I've had a few top 1,000 finishes over the years. But yeah, anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section below if there's any particular future Supercoach or AFL fantasy videos of interest. But yeah, otherwise, see you in the next video.